Police raid reveals expired frozen goods being sold. NHC evicting non-paying tenants. And Newcrest House officially open for business.
This is the National MTV News with Helen Sayer.
Good evening and thanks for joining us for Wednesday's news. 3 Asian shop owners who own Erima Freezer in the nation's capital, along with their employees, have been taken in for questioning after a search by police found expired frozen goods being sold. The search by police comes after reports that the retailer was selling expired frozen goods to the public. Minor Crimes Unit Officer in Charge, Inspector Robert Wane, says the Chinese nationals will be detained, questioned and charged according to the law of the country.
After obtaining a search warrant, Gordon's police went to Erima Freezer, formerly known as YY Trading, to conduct the search. During the search, various frozen products were found to have expired 3 years ago. Some freezers were not in good working condition and the shop in general unhealthy for people to work in.
Why you give him wrong, sir? You just have to dispose them, doesn't it?
Sort of what's more to come. And I make a public appeal to all public users, especially those ones living in Port Moresby, to report that if there is such incidents of goods or fake goods that seem to be selling in stores, please report to us so that we can move on from this. So today's job is the example of what the public has decided to help us today.
The frozen meats confiscated by the police include sausages, quick eye and lamb flaps curtains. Some products have no expiry dates, while some were stale meat unfit for human consumption.
And all the meat that is stored in the store, chicken plus the sausages, lamb flaps, everything that has been seen has been contaminated. And in other words, it means it's completely overdue, and it has a lot of stinking smell in it.
Our search is complete now. So all the ladies, all the employees with the property owner or manager, waste manager, everybody will go with us to the police station.
After the search today, the shop owners and their employees were taken to Gordon's police station for questioning. The OIC Minor Crimes said they will be questioned and charged according to the law.
So we will process them, and then, like I said, under our laws, we have involved health inspectors from NCD as well as the customs will come in, and then the immigrations, which is part of our team that is part of the investigation task force, will process them, and then if they see that the allegations are true, then they will be processed under law accordingly.
The OIC further called on the general public to refrain from purchasing meat from the shop until further advice from the health authority.
For them to not to go to YY Trading or the Erima Freezers, because the stuff that is stored in there, especially in terms of meat, is all contaminated. So I'm making an appeal to the public to stay away from this until investigations by authorities is cleared, and then they can go back to the shop.
Rayon Lakingu, National MTV News.
The National Housing Corporation and National Housing Estate Limited are currently evicting tenants who are living in National Housing Corporation properties but have not paid rental. Eviction notices have already been served to tenants as of Friday, March 6th. These evictions are taking place in NCD and will continue to the outer provinces.
National Housing Corporation and National Housing Estate Limited are collecting data of NHC properties and warning residents to pay their rentals or face evictions. Minister for Housing and Urbanization, Justin Tichanko, says NHC and NHEL need to start earning revenue.
Just because you live in a National Housing Commission house or property doesn't mean it's for free. It's not your entitlement. And many families and many public servants and many high-ranking officials from Papua New Guinea have been living in these properties rent-free for years and years and years and paid not one toya. Time of bludgeoning of the state and freeloading of the state is over.
Most of these properties are in prime locations, and public servants are refusing to pay rent of 300 kina or 400 kina a month. The minister said it is obvious the properties are run down and are not in good conditions. However, NHC needs money to maintain and upgrade these properties.
That the properties are run down. They're not in good condition. But how do you expect NHC and NHCEL to maintain and look after these properties if they're getting no revenue from them? It's a bit of common sense there. We are more than happy to renovate and upgrade the properties that you live in. But please, do the right thing and pay your rentals like everybody else does throughout the country.
Recently, the National Executive Council changed ownership and shareholding of National Housing Estate Limited to National Housing Corporation. National Housing Corporation is now the major shareholder and will be working together under one umbrella and not a separate entity.
We now know where to go, what to do, and how to deliver our business plans going forward. Our business plans have been sitting down stagnant for many years, about 6 years, but we are ready now to make sure we move on. For our tenants out there, what we've done is that for the past years, I think we've been giving them monthly invoices without fail. And those invoices have gone out and have gone into waste bin and have not come returned back with any, much return.
Under one umbrella, the company will try to collect all the outstanding rental payments of properties or evict tenants. National Housing Corporation Acting Managing Director Elizabeth Boada says they are looking at getting all NHC properties back.
We also have the lowest rates in rentals across the country. For our prime properties in Boroko, the highest we go is 200 kina per fortnight, 400 kina per month. And we also face the same dilemma like National Housing Estate Limited. People just don't pay their rents. They thought that, National Housing Corporation was very complacent. They never went out and served arrears. So they took that to their advantage and they never paid rent.
Michelle Stephen, National MTV News.
Lieutenant Colonel Mark Kellerton, the commanding officer of the 1st Royal Pacific Islands Regiment, is proud to lead his officers and soldiers on the 69th anniversary of the battalion. Kellerton, a former soldier in the 1st Battalion's Bravo Company, had gone for further studies before being commissioned as an officer in Army and now heads the 1st Battalion. The 69th anniversary celebrations commenced yesterday and continued this morning with the trooping of the colours.
Today, 69 years ago, on 11th March 1951, the Pacific Islands Regiment was re-established after it was disbanded following the end of the Second World War. Its re-establishment was for the purpose of peacekeeping, and it became a unit of the Australian Army. Years later, PIR expanded. The Delta Company was moved to Wewak to form the 2nd Royal Pacific Islands Regiment, giving a new name for the founding unit as we now know as the 1st Battalion. Thus, 1R PIR is seen as the establishment unit of the Papua New Guinea Defence Force.
We also display the colours. We go there, the Queen's colour, and we also the regimental colour, and that's what we do. We display that during this time. It's a time where we also pay respect to the military, and of course this drills and parade is all about respect to fallen comrades, those who have gone before us too. So it is kind of important, and something that. It sounds good, it's nice to see also. It just makes you feel good and be part of an organization.
A bid retreat hosted yesterday kicked off celebrations for the 1st Battalion. In full military tradition, a bid retreat ceremony is conducted to commemorate the time soldiers stopped fighting at the battlefield and return to their camps before sunset at the sound of the retreat.
Yeah, for all that has happened today, firstly, on behalf of all the men and women of our 1st Battalion and their wives and children, we're just so grateful of all that happened. Even the rain came down, but it was also sweet, sort of. But our activity has been made possible. There's so many hands, also efforts behind the screen. That's really enabled the activity to eventuate successful today.
Today's celebrations include the trooping of colors, a significant military tradition that has originated from the British Army and has been adopted by militaries in the Commonwealth. For the Papua New Guinea Defence Force, only members of the 1st and 2nd Royal Pacific Islands Regiment, as the infantry battalions, can perform this tradition. The regimental colours carried through the parade today is closely guarded. It was presented to the Pacific Islands Regiment in 1965 and carries the name of 9 battles fought in PNG.
I, as a CEO of 1st Battalion too, I'm kind of excited in that mention of that they fought about Ofim Wiam Road. Chief of Staff says mentioned that in his speech today, and that reflects that something is happening at higher headquarters, PNGDF, and maybe the provincial government of Western Province. If there's someone has to start it, it's got to be them. So I believe it's coming from Western Province.
As part of nation building, soldiers from 1RPIR who will be deployed to the southern PNG-Indonesian border will be engaged in the construction of the Wipim to Bula Road, an infrastructure development that will be built by the Western Provincial Government. Thekla Gunga, National MTV News.
A group of geologists engaged by the Nawai district to examine oil discovered by the villagers of Momolili in the Labuta LLG of Nawai district, Morbe, have confirmed the findings from the Huon Basin. The exercise was funded by the Nawai DDA at a cost of 100,000 kina. It is hoped the discovery will benefit 7 underdeveloped villages of Labuta LLG. The other phase of the project is sampling and testing of the quality of oil.
Signs of oil presence were discovered by the locals of Busung Momolili of Labuta LLG in the Nawai district. The discovery was headed by Tommy Ruben, the chairman of the landowner villages. Ruben approached the Nawai District Development Authority for assistance that brought in a technical team to investigate the discovery of oil presence in the area.
Bipolo tumuna papa kami mi pla kalimpen mi pla sablongwe. Daman by no look sabe, all plus something by no come about. Time developer come inside. Resource me plug time me plug talk yes and I come inside. Tasole men sablo me pla.
Me too me talk about so two University of Papua New Guinea UPNG na Unitec Lolay. Government of Papua New Guinea na all the consultants were all the abusim school na outside go na block. Na me look sabe osem or suspect or ting osem we got oil long. La Maringi original. I mi stop now only kisim picture kam na show him all level 3 lo university. Now university got record lo jisla na time lo ask me lo carry mal jisla mi ama mas 100% na mi put him 100,000.
Mi plagat coffee, mi plagat vanilla, mi plagat plenty all also fish. This la been stabat no got one plan looks how long government. Kaya sem lo 1975 come now no around la government service been start. Na me believe this la project now go inside by help him. All people will be good.
Geological Resource Engineering Consultant or GREC that consists of Papua New Guinean geologists headed the investigation. They were engaged by the Nawai DDA to investigate and confirm oil presence in Momolili in the Labuta LLG by foot. The investigation took 2 weeks. GREC Director Yawas Dakba presented a report yesterday to the district confirming oil presence, which GREC identified as the Huon Basin.
But we continue. Look at long system. We go, and we looking more same. oh, because I'm coming from the up down, it cannot work. So now Greg Miplay gonna start law, time law underneath, law community base. Now Mipla walk upwards. Kisimol people work on the resource flow, put in money go aside, put in valuable people come past them, put in valuable environment resource flow na Mipla walk law underneath, now walk about the common tap now by meeting all investors law halfway.
All consultant law university yet is short law, Saviman look exim law outside. So it's all fit in our country blowing work him. If not, why not? Allow our country to develop our country.
The project is also supported by the Morobe Provincial Administration Special Projects Office and the National Gas Corporation.
Work blow me, I'm work one time all proper ground, no looking all kind of resources all same. Now two, no looks have a long work one time all company, all investors, no sample new projects, it come up, I work one long coordinating, no work one time more long. Then I'm making into a project, I must come up. National Gas Corporation. Look out him, one of interest law, provincial government. Now, you are finding oil and gas stuff here. Through National Gas Corporation, still you own gas, still you own oil.
The second phase, that is the sampling process and the oil quality test, will continue once funding is available by the district.
Landislam, I'm all close to 300,000 bam study I finish. Na nalpa second stage kamba mi pay. Na imba karma pi mogla cost long feasibility studies. Na beyond long slaba mi alpi mol ba mi looking most spin off start. I'm to ba mi gilim. Equity blongon.
Julie Badui, Oa, National MTV News, Ley.
Newcrest Mining Limited has launched its naming rights to a building previously known as Port Tower in downtown Port Moresby. During a brief official ceremony last night at Grand Papua Hotel, Newcrest executives were glad to make the official announcement, which strengthens the company's presence in the country with their naming rights to a building in Port Moresby's central business district.
The building was opened in 2011 and has since then been owned by Number One Super Limited. Ownership of the sixth-floor building still remains with Number One Super Limited, but only the naming rights are now taken over by Newcrest Mining Limited.
It's a small thing, but it represents, in a small way, Newcrest's commitment through Port Moresby to Papua New Guinea.
It's actually exciting for the company and for the small team that we have in the country office, and also for our side team, where people, particularly our stakeholders, whether it's the government or visitors coming in, our landowners coming in asking for where the Newcrest office is. And because we don't have any signs, and people come and call and said, we're looking for you, where are you? So it's a bit of inconvenience, but it's also a bit of embarrassing when people ask where Newcrest is, and they start asking. So yeah, it's exciting in that context where a company like Newcrest got a building named after the company. We are in there. We're looking forward to operating here for the long time to come.
It was a new sight for those present at the official ceremony, and they were presented with the opportunity of taking the view of the renamed Newcrest House from the 15th floor of Grand Papua Hotel yesterday evening. Minister for Environment, Conservation and Climate Change, Wera Mori, was also present at the occasion, sharing some thoughts on PNG's mining sector, with him being a geologist by profession.
Now, if you are not familiar with the history of your own country, let me tell you this. Had it not been for the Gololo dredging on the plains of Bololo, the expedition that was taken by the Lay brothers up into the highlands in the early 30s were founded out of the Bololo operations. So we have got to basically, thank the industry, because had it not been for it, 1 million of us, people like myself in Manchester, we would be still living up in the trees.
Whilst in the midst of celebrating the launch of naming rights to a building, Newcrest PNG country manager Stanley Comont also expressed concern about the impact of the coronavirus situation on PNG's mining sector, in which Newcrest Mining Limited is taking strict preventive measures upon.
It will have an impact on the business. As soon as it gets into the country, it will have an impact on not only Newcrest or only here, it will have an impact on all the business and the country. So we are closely monitoring it. We make sure that we've limited our travels from employees on site going overseas for business travel. If they are going for their vacations, the management have told them, don't go to these areas, so those notices are being sent out. People are aware, our employees are aware of that, and also our team are monitoring those countries where we have Newcrest as portfolios and business in it. So,
Dennis Orere, National MTV News.
You're watching National MTV News. We'll be back with more after these messages. Stay with us. Welcome back. More provinces are encouraged to venture into the digital economy as PNG Dataco continues to roll out the fiber optic connection throughout the country. With the successful connection from Jayapura in Indonesia to Vanimot last month, PNG will now have access to online content in the growing Asian market, which can be a boost to local businesses as well as the economy of every province. East Sepik is one province that is ready to fully utilize this service.
East Sepik Province has taken steps to venture into the digital economy with a focus on e-learning and e-business. Last week, the provincial administrator, Dr. Clement Malau, announced the plans the province has for these sectors, saying the fiber optic cable connection will be a huge boost for the province.
That's like broad, yeah. By giving broad you using post PNG, law selling about something you go and come to markets. And you give me by some narabla rodgen, transport law card narabla rodgen, that's all. Suppose you like buy one plus something, you press the button, that's all. Something you like buy come. Or suppose you like sell him something in the market, yeah. You don't know buy still on the market, you try and blind him something to walk in. By putting picks up blue, that's all, you sell him, you go long. Put the money like buying.
Fiber optics is said to improve connectivity and reliability in the IT and communications industry. However, this doesn't guarantee a drop in internet prices or data rates. For service providers like Telecom PNG, the cost of doing business using traditional radio links remains a challenge in terms of maintaining infrastructure as well as network availability. However, the CEO is adamant once the cable is rolled out, it can change the wholesale pricing of internet in the country, thus enabling small businesses to be more active in the digital economy.
The cost of operating terrestrial infrastructure in the country is a very costly exercise for us. We just hope that issues around infrastructure cost, roads, transport, security, all those areas, if they can be addressed, then obviously overall cost of doing business here for us will come down.
As PNG Dataco continues to roll out the cable connection, a working plan will be developed with the company's shareholders to see how provinces and districts get full benefit out of this service.
And we're talking to all provincial governments and PPL as well, working in conjunction with them. So we've got actually a plan. It's been scoped out. It's with our shareholder. We currently are looking for funding, probably through the current funding defect that are there now to help us so that we can be able to jointly work with them to get more connectivity or accessibility throughout the country in terms of fiber connectivity.
Stanley Over Jr., National MTV News.
A memorandum of agreement has been signed between the National Capital District Commission and 2 urban local level governments to establish a proper waste management plan for the LLGs. The MOU paves way for NCDC to work in partnership with Kokopo and Goroka urban LLGs to pilot J-Prism activities in the country. Japanese ambassador to PNG, Kuniyuki Nakahara, hopes the partnership will see better waste management facilities being built to address waste management issues in the country.
The memorandum of agreement was signed between NCDC, Goroka ULLG, Kokopo ULLG, including JICA and SIPA. This agreement will help strengthen municipal waste management in coordination with SIPA and JICA. It is part of the J-Prism Phase 2 project funded by JICA, and it is an opportunity to address waste management issues in the country.
Shown by NCDC staff who studies and learned from JICA experts here and in Japan. And today, we are happy to commemorate the first step of outreach by NCDC to local authorities of Goroka ULLG and Kokopo ULLG.
The first phase of the project, which started in 2011, saw the rehabilitation of Barony landfill in NCD. In phase 2, the project will be rolled out in selected ULLGs in the country, and this MOA paves way for proper waste management facilities to be established in Kokopo and Goroka. Through this MOA, NCDC Waste Management Division will help deliver this program as the leading city to other sister towns and cities.
You will note that SEPA is a policy division, a policy organization. So the implementers are actually the municipalities in the provinces. So that was the actual key objective. So what we are actually witnessing now in terms of sister city cooperation between NCDC, Goroka and Kokopo is a very important occasion.
Kokopo City manager in signing the agreement says over the years there has been no proper waste management system in place, and with the help from NCDC and SIPA, proper landfills will be established to manage waste in the city.
Really improve solid waste management in the cities and towns. It's making a healthy population for the whole country of Papua New Guinea and the Pacific.
We have to pilot this project very well. Cities and towns, now we are selected. We'll have to pilot it very, very well, and making sure that we succeed in the whole program that we are trying to deliver.
NCDC Waste Management Division manager also stressed on the importance of waste management and global warming. He said waste management is everyone's business to ensure they live in a clean and healthy environment.
It's everybody's business, and I ask upon everyone here to go out and talk about waste management in that context, so we get to impact on other people's lives, so they are also waste conscious and are actively participating in managing waste better.
There are also plans to roll out the project in Alotau and Ley, and a MOA is planned to be signed between NCDC and the two ULLGs soon. Rayon Lakingu, National MTV News.
National MTV News continues with more stories after these messages. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the news. Turning overseas, all travellers entering New Zealand from Italy will be required to go into self-isolation for 14 days. Travel restrictions are already in place for travellers from China, Iran and South Korea in a bid to stop the spread of coronavirus. It is just after 6 a.m. in Italy, where 60 million people are waking up after the first full day in lockdown. Authorities are scrambling to halt the rapidly spreading virus, which has killed more than 160 people in just 24 hours, taking the death toll there to 631.
The message from Italian police, loud and clear: stay at home. Along with tough restrictions on travel, a social curfew of sorts.
I had to turn to English news, but didn't tell me that restaurants were closing at 6, so no food.
There are stiff penalties for any group gathering. Around 50 people face a fine or worse after holding a funeral in Sicily. Only one person per family is allowed to go to the supermarket.
There was a big red tape line so that you could order from a minute away and call out your order.
And moving between towns and cities now requires a form.
Falsifying this document could lead to prosecution. Never could people in Italy have conceived of the idea that they'd need this to be able to move within their own country.
I think it is not necessary to be in an absolute panic. However, it is necessary to be very careful and to take it seriously.
Seeing tourist hotspots like this empty in daylight is unprecedented. And with airlines cancelling flights in and out of Italy, many visitors are trapped.
There are people everywhere, and it looks very clear that a lot of people are trying to get out of Italy.
Residents increasingly stuck too, Australia the latest to ban Italian travellers. Neighbouring nation Slovenia is setting up roadblocks and Austria's enforcing health checks.
It's a little bit scary, but we'll get through it. I think if everybody stays home and takes care of themselves, I think we'll be okay.
Italy's Prime Minister is considering even more severe restrictions as cases continue to climb.
Every day we admit 40 to 50 patients. It's becoming very, very difficult to find a bed for every patient. So, if this keeps going like this, the system is going to collapse.
Some hospitals using tents to test and treat the infected. But a glimmer of hope, the northern town of Codogno, the original epicentre of the virus in Italy, for the first time reporting no new cases in the past day.
This month marks 5 years of the conflict in Yemen, with an upsurge in violence threatening efforts to secure peace. The southwest of the country has seen one of the longest running battles. The city is split in two between Houthi rebels backed by Iran and the government backed by a Saudi-led coalition which is supported by the West.
Sneaking through shadows, slipping behind walls. We're taken to the streets in the line of fire. Taiz, city of snipers.
اليوم في مشكل؟ يضرب على العوائل قنص. والقنص شغال واصل. حق الحوائل.
ما في هدنة هنا.
One street, one lane is safe, the other is not. That's the nature of this shifting front line in Taiz, dividing streets, dividing homes, shattering lives.
This side of the wall in government hands. The other, Houthi fighters, both sides shooting. The face of the front line drained of life. Other streets shot through with danger. A short drive away, the first neighborhood reduced to rubble when this war began. It's lasted longer in Taiz than almost anywhere else in Yemen. But in the safe spaces, life explodes. Children ambush the ice cream man. But they carefully keep to this road. They all know it's the safest route on their way home from school.
أحس بالتعب يعني أذبح على اليمن بصعوبة ببكي.
Gone from these skies for now, the rumble of Saudi warplanes. Taiz was one of the most heavily bombed areas, causing the most civilian casualties, often with British or American-made bombs.
This my home.
Marwan remembers this airstrike as if it was yesterday. 10 members of his family perished as they slept in these rooms. 8 neighbors died too. Life is still shattered 5 years on. Stuck in this stalemate. See the green scar slashing Taiz in two? The Houthis control the heights beyond there, a third of this city. The roads running through Taiz, once bustling, are now blocked.
And back home, Papua New Guinea's hottest radio stations, Now FM, Yumi FM and Legend FM, will be celebrating their 25th anniversary tonight. These stations under PNG FM have over the years tailored their music for the various stations to suit the audience. And the 25th anniversary is expected to be filled with fun activities.
Founded in 1994 under parent organisation Communications Fiji Limited, PNG FM is one of Papua New Guinea's top radio broadcasting stations. PNG FM has 3 radio stations, 96 FM Now FM, 93 FM Yumi FM, and 101.1 Legend FM.
No, girls, it's not. It's not bro. He's not calling you bro.
Now FM is the oldest station, which was established in 1994. Here, you can put some of the faces behind the names, like Sam and Mystique.
Now FM Brekkie with Mystique and Sam. Good morning.
So today, Now FM Text Talk.
Yes. 96 FM is the biggest youth radio station in PNG, having listeners from 15 to 25 years of age. It plays the latest trending songs from local to international. Yumi FM was established in 1997. It is PNG FM's talk piecing station, and it airs music, news and announcements, all in talk piecing.
On fake PNG visa, ICA task force team.
Most of their famous voices include Barbara, Patrick, Wauray, Kakalara Rakasti, and Tuluan Vids.
You may FM want them Tuluan Vids. Good for morning Tuluan you 5 minutes past 9.
Legend FM was recently launched in 2011. It is an adult contemporary radio station with a target audience of 25 to 35 years of age. 101.1 FM plays hits from different genres ranging from rock, reggae, R&B, pop, and the hits in local music.
Legend FM 90s at 9 with Frankie. Good morning. It's a top.
Most of the faces behind Legend FM include Frankie, Dylan, JT, Manu, Martin, Danny, and Michelle.
But you can find out tomorrow, same time, whether Danny and I,
The company is owned by Communications Fiji Limited, which is said to be the South Pacific's largest broadcasting organization with national reach across both Fiji and Papua New Guinea. Michelle Steven, National MTV News.
Up next, some sporting updates in Chukai Sports. Don't go away.
Chukai Sports.
Welcome to Chukai Sports. The SP Hunters have returned to training ahead of their round 1 clash against South Logan Magpies. They've had 2 trial matches leading up to their first hit-out this weekend.
The SP Hunters began preparations in November last year, with the team trimmed to the final 30-man squad. A few changes were made to the team, beginning with the appointment of Matthew Church as head coach for the next 3 years. They've had a tough pre-season and had 2 trial matches leading up to the 2020 season. The first was against the CQ Capras and the second against Northern Pride. This weekend, they take on the South Logan Magpies in round 1 of the Queensland Interest Super Cup. Magpies had 3 trial matches and have recruited a few new players to the side. This weekend's round 1 clash will kick off at 3 p.m. at Davis Park in Brisbane, Australia. Elijah Levette, National MTV Sports.
Port Moresby Rugby Football League is preparing for the 2020 pre-season 9s tournament. It kicks off Friday 20th of March to Sunday 29th of March. The men's tournament will comprise 32 teams, with 28 coming from POM RFL's 14 affiliated clubs, with each club making 2 teams. The other 4 places will go to invitational teams from Motu Koita villages, Central or Gulf provinces. The women's tournament will comprise 16 teams, of which POM RFL's 14 affiliated clubs must trial their women's division players, while the other 2 places will go to interested outsiders. Registration fee for the men's tournament is 500 kina each and 700 kina for invitational teams, while the women's registration is at 300 kina and 400 kina for invitational teams. This is exactly what rugby league officials didn't want or need on the eve of the 2020 NRL season start. An off-field scandal has again hit the game, taking the spotlight away from the opening round matches.
Welcome in this family. Our hearts beat blue and white.
The positive image the Bulldogs wanted this season now shattered due to yet another scandal.
I can confirm that the breaches do relate to players bringing young females of a consensual age back to the team hotel.
Those players are Kiwis international Corey Harawira-Naira and winger Jaden Ockenbaugh, and the 17-year-old girls they had sex with were from a school the team visited in Port Macquarie shortly before a trial game there 2 weeks ago. It's understood Ockenbaugh was at the school visit. Private messages between him and one of the students show how they planned to meet later that night.
They're not behaviours or values that are reflective of this football club.
While photos of the team's visits to other schools are still online, all material involving the girls' school has been removed by both the club and the NRL.
Harawira-Naira bursting
Last year, Kia was the Bulldogs' major sponsor, seen on the centre of their jersey. After Kia left, the club had secured a replacement in restaurant chain Rashes. But after this scandal, they've pulled out of the $2 million deal.
We continue to discuss those opportunities when appropriate.
It's a sad start to the season after the Bulldogs were put in a similar position by Dylan Napa's sex tape, this time last year. Now it's Ockenbaugh and Harawira Naira, the captain of this year's Nines team and poster boy for their membership drive, suspended until further notice.
If someone did that in our footy team, and you know they'll be sitting out this week too, so it's not good enough.
An NRL investigation could result in extremely harsh penalties, with players asked to show cause why the NRL shouldn't cancel or suspend their registrations.
Chukai Sports continues with more after these messages. Stay with us.
Chukai Sports.
Welcome back to Chukai Sports. Motukoita West Netball Association today received a cheque of 25,000 kina from Pacific Industries. Present to hand over the cheque was Pacific Industries marketing manager Mervyn Rangip. This is the second sponsorship made by Pacific Industries since their first last year. Godwin Eki reports.
Using the brand Pepsi, Pacific Industries, a big supporter of sports in Motukoita villages, has once again come on board this year to support Motukoita Netball Association. A big believer in community engagement, Pacific Industries, according to marketing manager Mervyn Rangip, netball is not the only sport Pacific Industries is supporting, but it has supported other sports such as rugby, cricket, and Community Rugby League in ways of giving back to community. President of Motukoita West Netball Association, Corey Toa, says the sponsorship will go a long way in supporting sports in Motukoita villages and looks forward to developing a stronger relationship with Pacific Industries in the future. Motukoita West Netball competition for this season will kickstart on the 18th of April, where it will see 26 participating clubs, 180 teams and 2,000 participants ranging from under 10s all the way up to the Masters plus mixed netball. From the 20,000 kina sponsorship from Pacific Industries, 20,000 will go as cash in running the association, while 5,000 will go towards buying uniforms and merchandise for the association. Godwin Eki, National MTV Sports.
The Olympic build-up plans for New Zealand rowers have been torn up, but that might not be a bad thing. 2 World Cup matches planned for Italy in May are being scratched out due to the coronavirus outbreak.
With coronavirus continuing to cast its gloom over the sporting world, Karapiro might just be the safe haven our rowers need.
Karapiro is our best training base that we have in the world. We've got all our facilities here. We've obviously got an amazing lake. It's always nice to be training at home.
The coronavirus completely shutting down Italy and overnight forcing the cancellation of the 2 World Cup events to be staged there in May. But missing out on those warm-up regattas might not be the end of the world for our Olympic rowers.
We've got a good group of athletes here, and it's really easy for us to benchmark off world-class athletes having a number of world champion crews.
As the virus continues to spread across Europe, there's a chance World Cup 3 in Lucerne could also be canned. The Kiwi crews could spend their entire Olympic build-up here at Karapiro. Currently, the Swiss government is banning all events with more than 1,000 people. That could put World Cup 3 and Last Chance Regatta in doubt. That Last Chance Regatta, a final opportunity for our men's 8 and quad to qualify for Tokyo, although cancellation for that regatta would work in the Kiwis' favour.
But we do have the privileged position where our men's 8 and our men's quad next qualified from last year's World Champs results. So we're comfortable that if that rule was applied, then we're going to Tokyo with 11 crews.
A decision on Switzerland will be made as early as next week, only bringing into sharper focus the fate of the Olympics. While the Olympic Committee says they will go ahead, a member from the Japanese organising committee today has called for the Games to be delayed for 1 to 2 years.
And then in Chukai Sports, the weather details coming up next.
Chukai Sports. True Kai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by Money Plus. With you always.
A look at the weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow in the southern region. Cloudy with rain showers at times in Port Moresby, Kerema, Alotau and Popondetta. Cloudy with thundery showers at times in Daru. In the Mamasa region, mostly fine, although partly cloudy in spots in Lae. Cloudy with a shower or two in Medang, Wewak and Whanimo. In the New Guinea Islands region, mostly fine weather in Lorengau, Kokopo and Rabaul. Cloudy with chances of evening showers in Kavieng and Buka. Cloudy with chances of a few thunderstorms in Kimbe. And in the Highlands region, cloudy with rain showers tonight, then morning fog right across the region in Mount Hagen, Goroka, Kundiawa, Mendi and Wabeg.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by Money Plus. With you always.
And that's the way it is this Wednesday, the 11th of March 2020. On behalf of the entire MTV News team, pleasant viewing. Good night.